the codes of self-esteem. It's the codes of who you are.
If you wanna talk about me, you better say the shit to my face. You better say the shit to my face.
Are you ready? I busted my head open. Fun fact.
There could have been squid people.
Scared? Don't worry. We'll be there to hold your hand and guide you through this painless transition.
What's up, everyone? Happy Thursday. I hope everyone's having a good time, and I hope you're about to have a good time too. We have a very special episode today because it's the Primos Chidos, and we always have a special episode. I swear I say that every stream. I'm here joined by your regulars. Julie, why don't you go ahead and say what's up?
Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday.
Brandon, why don't you go ahead and say what's up?
Hi, everybody. Gong Hei Fat Choi. Happy Lunar New Year. Happy belated birthday to Mysterious Jax of Ladies Night. So give her some birthday love.
Shout out. I forgot. So does your family celebrate like the Chinese like holidays?
We used to when I was younger, not so much now that I'm older. But when we were younger, we did Chinese New Year.
Why not anymore?
I don't know. It not really a reason. Just I don't know.
You guys are just like it's like
well, it wasn't really like a celebration. It was just more we go to my the Chinese side of my family's house, and we'd have just a bunch of dinner, we'd have a bunch of Chinese food.
Are you gonna try and reconnect more like now?
I want to because I never grew up with any Chinese people. I grew up with a bunch of Mexican people. That's cool, but
I always say that when you shave your head, you look like the most Mexican. Like you showed up, and I was like, who's this new dude on the block?
Who's this fool?
Yeah, who's this fool rolling up to my house right now?
No, yeah, we used to give usually my mom gives those little red cards.
Yeah,
they're called lacies, and I would get those, but that's about as much. I wouldn't say we celebrated.
What is that though?
Lacies?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a red. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, that's. I don't know. It's just more you give them on my mom would get. They're these little red cards, and my grandma would give them me too. They have usually they put a gift. My mom give $5 or $10, and it's just
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, since we're talking about traditions,
you're the tiger though, aren't you?
Yeah.
The Chinese. You're the tiger.
If I could pull up my sleeve right now,
take off your shirt. Right now.
Just live on the show.
Spit on it.
Look, I'll put. You know what? I'll pull up my arm. Yeah, I'll pull up my arm. But since we're talking about tradition, the thing I wanted to bring to the table this week is it's Black History Month, also known. I got my sleeve. Also known as the shortest time of the year. I don't think this will work. I think I had to take my shirt off.
He has too many layers.
You're already too far. Let's do it, bro. Let's do it.
So for those of you watching at home, you could see.
Censor your.
We'll pixelate it. We'll pixelate it.
Oh. you can't kind of.
You can barely see. Go up to the camera.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm about to be shirtless live on the air.
Nobody screenshot.
Okay,
screenshot everybody.
All right. I'm gonna just.
You gotta take the headphones off, buddy.
It's on his tricep.
Yeah. So even if I take it off, you won't be able to see it. But anyways, it's Black History Month, also known as the shortest month of the year, which is ironic, but not really if you know the U.S. government. Anyways, I want to talk about shows that I grew up with because even though I'm not Black myself, I obviously grew up with a lot of Black media, and. I want to talk about my favorite show growing up was actually Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
That's a great show.
Yeah, and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air actually goes over a lot of, I think Black issues, especially in the 90s. Because I think Uncle Phil and
Patty with
Steve,
Fatty.
Patty with the Fatty said to Steve, H. He doesn't say whore. He says WH0R.
He censored
3.
it.
Yeah. We should ban him.
How you doing? Hello, hardworking fella. How's God bless you?
Patty with Fatty said to Julie and Brandon, hello, hardworking gentleman. I'm a gentleman? Damn.
That's a compliment. It's like, you know how people say that's a handsome woman? And it's kind of like...
You don't see that as a compliment? If I called you handsome, Julie?
I mean, I'm a dude. I should be a dude.
Well, okay, let's say the opposite. Let's say I went up to you and I'm like, and you know how you're growing your hair out?
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you look really pretty.
I'd blush.
Okay, now let's say it's like a 40-year-old Mexican fool, and he's like, you look really pretty with that hair.
Oh, thanks.
Wow. Yeah, you were saying?
Yeah, as I was saying, I grew up with freshmen at Bel-Air, and I remember, I think Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv were like former, like civil rights, like
Activists?
movement, activists, yeah,
I think in the show they just like had parts in it, like they were there. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Where what does Uncle Phil say? I heard him speak.
Oh yeah, you have
a
a poster of Malcolm X. I heard the brother speak, and then that was like season 1.
That's
I
the
think,
first episode.
Yeah.
That's the pilot.
So
yeah.
it literally like establishes that like from the get go. So I remember as a kid growing up, to me, I was like, even though I wasn't part of that community, I was like from the get go. It's like it's weird. Have you guys ever heard that expression that like a lot of Mexican kids want to be black? Have you guys ever heard that?
I haven't.
You never heard that?
No.
No, like it that wasn't me, but like it's more of an insult if anything. Well, but not an insult because like it's bad to be black. It's more of an insult how like, you know how a lot of people in the Hispanic community say like the N-word?
Yeah.
It's like that. Like people are like, oh, you guys want to like be hard and like be like that.
Okay.
So that was like my way when I saw the show. I was like, I didn't want to be black, but it was like, it seemed like it was really cool to be black because there's so much like cultural history. But if for me, it came just because I was uneducated and I didn't know about like Chicano Mexican history at the time. But I mean, to me, it's like 2014, Forest Hill Drive. Yeah, like Uncle Phil was really like a dad to me.
Yeah.
Like he James Avery, right?
Rest in peace.
Yeah, James
Right.
Avery. He was built different.
I feel like, especially Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, in a way, to me, was a little relatable. Because you know how Uncle Phil worked really hard to kind of get out of like where he used to be and like how he struggled a lot and he went to school and stuff. I feel like it reminded me too, like, remember when Carlton would face like hardships of like he's kind of like a sellout or something.
Yeah.
They would say Carlton isn't black enough, right?
Yeah.
This episode where they don't let him join the frat because they're like, you're just a rich guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he said you don't know the struggle, like you don't
Yeah.
get it. And then Carlton's speech is to show that like he still looks black on the outside, and that enough is for him to have a bunch of hurdles like through life. And like I don't know, it's interesting just because like I think since I was younger, Mexicans, the Mexican people, I don't know why Mexicans, like to me it's just funny. Anyways, we have like a lot of similar issues. Like we grew up like in the same like neighborhoods and the same. We even us like when somebody who's like an indigenous Mexican is like, oh, like they're educated and they're trying to make money and they're trying to like rise up in the classes. A lot of the times, like Mexicans will see like, well, you're whitewashed, like like you don't know anything about your culture, like you're a sellout, you want to be white so bad, right? And I feel like that's an issue that's both in the black community and the Mexican community.
I feel like I kind of went through that in a way.
Really?
Because you know how we would always go to Mexico, and you know how like for us, like they see that we have like a nice house and stuff.
Yeah.
I actually, like, some people used to tell me when I would go to Mexico, they would be like, why do you hang out with us? Like, you're not from here. Like, you're not like us. Like, we're lower class than you are. Like, they legit would say that to me. Like, they're like, we're lower class than you. Like,
would they say it as like telling you to fuck off, or were they saying it as like they're like really genuinely surprised that you're hanging out with them just because they're quote unquote lower class?
I don't know. It mostly felt like it was more of like, well, because to me, the way I interpreted it, it was kind of like you shouldn't be hanging out with this kind of thing. Like, we're not your type of people. It was like more of it was like more of their side. Like, they were the ones, like, they weren't deserving of me like hanging out with them.
Oh,
it was kind of like that.
Oh, okay.
And to me, it made me feel bad sometimes because I was like I still, like, in a way, I grew up like the way when my parents were still struggling. Like, I still got to see it all.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, now, like, maybe it's not so bad as how when we were younger, but I still got to see it, and I lived it in a different way. I was like, for us, we're not rich. Like, we still struggle a lot.
Yeah.
We still have a lot of money issues and stuff. So I remember when I first heard that kind of like hurt me. Because I was like, man, and it was kind of sad too to like think about it that they kind of saw themselves that way too. Because I was like, I feel like, I mean, my parents grew up here and like For example, like we would go to Mexico like basically every like break that we had.
Yeah.
So technically, I kind of lived there too. So it was just like it was weird to like hear that side of it.
No, yeah.
And it was
I
kind of
get you.
sad, you know. To
It's
hear
like
it too.
well, I mean, in that way, they're not necessarily being like they don't have malintent towards you. Like they're not
Mhm.
saying like you should fuck off.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of another line from the show Fresh Prince of like you work hard your entire life and suddenly there's a penalty for success.
Mhm.
Like suddenly like you can't like being successful is also there's a downside. Like all of a sudden now like you have to be more of your own race than other people are. Like you have to be more prideful, you have to be more Mexican, you have to be more like American, like if you're born here. And it's weird that like we try to hold each other back. It's kind of the mentality of like even though somebody else is succeeding, like I'm not succeeding, so I don't want them to surpass me.
Mhm.
Like instead of just supporting each other, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. What do you think, Brandon?
Oh, specifically.
About
Like-
just like in general about how what a lot of the times when people are more successful, like let's say your family, because I know your family is very well off. I don't know anything about it, so I won't say it like that. But like has anybody in your family ever had like some sorts of jealousy or like animosity towards you because of just like your financial like standing? Like have you ever felt less of your own race? And I know for you because you're biracial, just like Logic.
Yeah. Well, like in school, right?
Mhm.
I never like, obviously I don't look like these two, and there's a reason for that because my mom's she's half Chinese,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and you know how like it's part of the Mexican culture to like rib on people,
Yeah.
like, just to tease.
Yeah.
It's one thing when it's like all the homies doing each other. It's another when it's like 20 on 1. You know what I
I
mean?
get you.
It's like, so
Like you show up to the family functions and they're all like
I mean, in school and family functions, yeah, it's kind of like like I get the part where it's like not Mexican enough and like whitewashed.
Mhm.
Like like I'm like I still like I understand, like my dad's Mexican, like you see my dad,
yeah.
and he understands like what it's like he knows what it's like to like have like he was around for when you couldn't sit at the same place, you couldn't eat at the same place as white people.
Yeah.
So like I'm like I don't personally understand, but I know
Yeah.
a little bit, but in terms of like family and like success, I don't think I've ever had it like directly.
Mhm.
It's just more like a feeling. So it's
Mhm.
weird to like definitively say,
Mhm.
that people have been like that to me. But to me, I see it more as like I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I can definitively say as much. It's just more
Mhm.
a hunch, I guess. That for one, people don't see me as Mexican, so it's kind of like you don't understand.
But does that like do you ever get deteriorated from like the culture or do you always try to hold like your background, your origin?
To me, I feel like I grew up with a lot of not it's like I'm mixed, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things there. So it's kind of so much that I don't have a lot. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I'm Mexican, right?
Mhm.
And my dad's mom was Native American. And then my mom is half Chinese and her dad is Spanish. So that's like 4 things, right?
Yeah.
So at a certain point, it's kind of like I don't get anything really. You know what I mean? I wish I had a little bit more, but you know what I mean?
You like pave your own way.
I guess I don't know. I was never super culturally like,
Mm.
because for one, I feel like people never kind of like wanted.
They never wanted you.
No, just like it's hard to explain. You just don't fit in. You know what I mean? It's just like, and it's not. It doesn't always have to be like people are. Because I've had some times where people have said some mean shit. I won't say who, because sometimes it's family, sometimes it's friends or whatever. It's just like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. You kind of just you don't get it until you get it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you just feel out of place, and like a lot of people like.
Because you have so many cultures, and it's like you've never felt that you fit in one more than the other kind of thing.
Yeah, and like it's not a strong connection because it's like there's so much. Like I can only be so related to the Mexican culture.
Yeah.
Because then I also have the Chinese culture where it's like I never got enough of one to where I feel kind of like disjointed from all of them a little bit.
Mhm.
Makes me a little sad, but I have time to like get into it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really answered your
Would
question.
you? No, it's cool. It's cool.
New year.
Yeah.
So all right. So the big question then, if you had to,
Choose one.
who would you marry? a Latina or an Asian woman?
I don't know. I've only been with a Latina.
Okay. A man with taste. Okay.
Taste, yeah.
You know what's interesting is that I know for
Yeah.
at least seeing from like you guys, it's always been more like culturally like fitting in. I mean, I've had the same thing, but for me, it's always been like a class kind of. I've dealt a lot with
A class struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
Because I feel like, especially, I always remember about. So my mom is always about how she wants me to be like in relationships and stuff, and there was this one time where like this guy came up to my dad and like he actually told him, he was like, like he told him that he liked me, and then he was just like, but like it's just like ustedes son de dinero, like y'all have money, like it's kind of like he saw himself less because of the fact that we seemed like we had money, and like we were we're like, I guess, kind of like middle class, right? And it wasn't just him, like there has been multiple people who have said that before, or like I've gotten that feeling before, and that's why I'm like, for me, I've gone more through that of like the fact that our success has really affected like the way people see us now. And I feel like I've gone more through that in my life than like facing like culturally. I mean, culturally, like I've been okay, like but it was, for me, it was more of a class thing. And it was always interesting to me that like it would go through that kind of aspect of it, because I was just like, damn, like to me it hurt me, but when I would think about it, I'd be like, damn, that's kind of sad that they see themselves that way, and like and I was just like, damn.
I feel that. But I never experienced.
Patty with the fatty said, "White boy summer." I'm not sure what that's in reference to.
I don't know what
I
he
like
means.
that. I like that. My segment for this week was to talk about black shows, and we ended up talking about like Mexican experiences.
What are the shows?
We're like Gina Rodriguez.
What are the shows?
Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back.
Okay.
What other shows do you got?
There's Everybody Hates Chris. Everybody Hates Chris is a
That's good.
classic.
Oh, yeah.
That one's
That
a
was
really
pretty
good
good.
show.
That's pretty
I mean, there's also like people in general. Like I remember, since I liked Freshman's of Bel-Air, Will Smith was like the guy for me until recently.
You know what I wanted
what do you
to.
mean?
Oh, it's because Jada.
No, I mean, I just feel like he's
been taking a lot of L's.
Yeah,
lately,
well, I'm a movie guy.
Yeah,
and
he's
so-
been missing.
And so to me, actors are like NBA players. Like they're
He's having
accolades.
a bad season.
He's had a few bad seasons for a while now.
Okay.
I don't. If I'm offending anyone, argue with me, because I'd actually want to argue this.
You know what I want. You know what I want to bring up. I don't know if it's the time. I mean, it seems like the time. Is how a lot of Mexican people say the N-word? Like it's pretty like
Yeah.
A lot of people say
Yeah,
it,
of
like,
course,
a lot.
yeah.
Like and I don't know. Because I like how I was talking about how I feel a little disconnected from the Mexican community because
Yeah.
just the nature of things.
Mhm.
I've always felt, just from my perspective, that the reason there's kind of some animosity between the Mexican culture and the Black culture, because like you remember on TikTok when it was like kind of a thing where like I think a few street vendors were getting like mugged and like beaten.
During 2020.
Yeah, and the comments were gnarly, dude. They were saying some
course,
really
yeah.
racist shit.
Yeah.
And I always felt like there's animosity between like Mexican and Black people because I feel like Mexican people don't feel like seen. Like they're like, how do I say it? Like, you know how there's Black History Month?
Yeah.
Or there's like there's Black issues and they're like, oh well, what about the racism and the slavery and stuff? I always felt like the Mexican community or just Hispanic community in general felt like, well, what about us? Like, what about all the bad shit they've done to us?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Am I wrong in assuming that? It's
No,
just
I
kind
get
of
what
how
you're
I
saying.
feel.
No,
a
I
lot
get
of
what you're
people
saying.
kind of are. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really done research on it.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Yeah.
Just
You know what that reminded me of?
Yeah.
There's this guy called Daryl Davis. I think he's like a
that guy's cool.
yeah, right. He's like a historian. He famously said, since we're talking about Black History Month, he famously said that he's a black man himself, and he believes that that Black History Month shouldn't exist. But what he means by that is that Black History Month should be just embedded into the American history. That it should just be a part of American history. It kind of relates to what you were saying, because it's weird how like having these months at the same time, while it's like inclusive, it at the same time also alienates people. It's like, yeah, this month, this is Black History, like this is the month we choose it. But after that, all the other 11 months, like it's just, that's American history.
Yeah.
So there's Black history, and then there's American
Morgan
history.
Freeman said that in an interview.
Really?
They were like, "Do you like Black History Month?" He's like, "No, Black history is American history." And you know, I'm not making an argument. I don't know enough. I'm not. You know, it's just more like I just feel like if there's contention between races, it comes like there sometimes, where like I feel like some races are like, well, what about us, bro? Like, what about all the bad shit that's happened to us? Like, it's not just them, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Again, I don't know. I haven't really researched this. It's just I get that vibe sometimes from you know, comments or what people say, being around certain people.
Well, I mean, I keep bringing up like Mexican history, or like I shouldn't be saying Mexican. I should be saying like indigenous. But one of the reasons why I bring it up is not because I want to overshadow Black History Month. It's because I really do feel like our like history is very much hand in hand in terms of like how we've been abused by the American like history. Like for Black history, it was they were brought here forcefully from Africa, while here the Mexicans are indigenous people to the Americas. To them, the land was stolen, and obviously like the African Americans, the African slaves were brought here. So like to them, they were brought to a land that they never wanted to be, while our land was taken and erased. And I think like subconsciously, I feel like that's where all that animosity comes from, is from like, I think there's this like there's this sense of like erasure coming from like the indigenous Mexican population. And I think even culturally, like, you know how people have the gelled edges and like the braided hairstyles. People always fight. Who brought that?
Who owns that?
But it was like a combination. It's like the burrito. It was like a combination of a lot of things. But even that alone, even saying that, I'm sure that pisses some people off. I'm sure people would be like, pull up a document from like the 1300s.
Well, because I know it was like mostly it was like California and like Nevada and Texas were all Mexico, and then there was the whole war, which like the Americas invaded, and then that's how it became like all that. Because I also thought about that too. It was just like, you know, I remember what's that movie, Freedom Riders? Where they're always fighting and they're like, we were here first kind of thing. And it was kind of like, well, I also think about like the indigenous people and the genocide that happened between them, of like their land was stolen and a lot of them were killed. And it's kind of like tying into what you said. And then there was like this whole other like the whole other group of Black people were brought here and they were forced to be here, and they were mistreated. And to them, because I know the other argument was that like they continue to be mistreated, so until their thing is like fixed, everyone else can get fixed. Everyone else's thing just falls into place of getting fixed, you know? Because it is true, like for the longest they've been ignored too. But so have other like cultures, but they have been like the main of like.
But they were here from the beginning.
I'm not. I don't think we're trying to like, you know, like. It's just more like I feel like it sucks that it's like that. It's just more like I wish the cultures would be a little more like, you know, they just be cool with each other.
I mean, like, just look at our radio station. We're like living proof, right? I mean, we're in collaboration with like TGN Talk, which is like majority black, which is like awesome. This alone, we should be blowing up right now. There should be 20K people watching this stream right now. One day.
I feel like for me, I remember that has always been the saddest thing, and then we've always talked about this, that I've always wanted the Black and brown culture to come together, and it always sucks that in moments like how when they attack like street vendors and stuff, like that shit just brings us back to
it was like
the comments do be like
the comments
out of pocket, bro.
Gnarly, dude.
It's just like, bro,
literally statistically the LAPD, like if you look at like the amount of people that they've executed, like literally the stat is like I think it's number one is like Black, and then it's Hispanic, and they're literally right there, and the next one is like white, and it's like all the way down here. Like all our issues are the same. Like everything we have, everything we usually like
bro, the jokes that they be hitting on the jokes on Twitter, they be hitting because we all relate to them, like the way our parents are like racist
parents,
you know, I don't know if this is wrong. I just wanted to bring it up. I guess it's a little timely. Did you guys see what Whoopi Goldberg said?
Dude,
Dude,
yes, I did.
Where
Did
she
you see
said,
it, Julie?
She said, I think, was it on The View?
Yeah, it's on the
She
View.
said she said the Holocaust wasn't about race. Like it wasn't about race at all. Like it has nothing to do with race.
She said that the Holocaust has nothing to do with race and everything to do with humans being inhuman to other humans.
Yeah, and everybody's like, "What are you talking about?" That was like Hitler's goal. Is like
Well,
one Aryan race.
Well, you know what's weird? You sent it to me on TikTok, and did you check the comments? People were agreeing with her.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
And I think it's wrong because you said like a perfect argument of like Hitler literally said he wanted a perfect race of blonde and like blue-eyed
people.
white
Yeah.
people. So I don't know what she's talking about.
But the
it's not
reason
about
I
race.
kind of bring that up is, again, I'm not trying to like compare anything. It's just like I feel like have you seen those memes where it's like it'll have like a Native American guy kind of talking about his discrepancies with I mean, and just Native people in general talk about the discrepancies, like how anyone else with America or the white people of the past and stuff like that, and even some white people now. It's they'll be like, the comments will be like, L, like, just you guys got they took over your land and stuff, and I'm like, do you think it's because it was a genocide, right? And I feel like it's never acknowledged to the same standard as like the Holocaust or the Armenian genocide. I obviously get those. They're different types of those are like wars and like there's you know what I mean. But I'm just saying like it's never
because there's two things to it. One, to acknowledge the genocide, the mass genocide of the Native people who were here, is to acknowledge that the government doesn't really own the United States.
Yeah.
Like the land that they're on is unfairly, illegally owned. And obviously the United States would never do that because that would paint the history books to be like the United States is bad. And I'm not a person to be like, oh, like it's a conspiracy, like it's because the government doesn't want to look bad. No, I think it's like more of a legal thing. I genuinely do think if they acknowledge that, it'd be like the government basically owes like the Natives reparations. And that's the second thing that leads into my second thing. Second thing is that the Native Americans and the indigenous people are still here. And a lot of the times when people are like, it sucks that they were wiped out and like you said, L, like you guys took an L, biggest L in history or whatever. It's like, but they're still around, at least maybe not like a purebred, right? But like maybe like not like a pure Native guy, but like I mean, we're here. Like the fact that we're here, that alone, like, and people still say like, oh, Native Americans don't exist. That adds to the erasure of issues and like so a lot of people are kind of like, it doesn't matter. They're a thing of the past.
No, but like even I don't just mean like the government. I just mean people in general. It doesn't seem to be like, I don't know.
It isn't
again, I'm not.
It's not. I get what you're saying. It's like people wouldn't make fun of the Holocaust the same way that they make fun of the natives being genocidal.
Yeah, like it's not. Like, and it is like it's an entire race of people pretty much got wiped out. They're not really here anymore. Like
I was thinking about the Incas and how they're gone, and like because they were one of the groups that like it was like straight up genocide.
Like and it's weird, not weird. It's just like some groups are like all gone. They're gone, like wiped off the planet.
And
I don't know. It's like I don't know. I just think about it sometimes that it's not really treated the same. But again, I'm not.
You're not comparing tragedies. No, I get you.
Tragedies.
Yeah, no, I get what you're
just
saying.
bringing it up.
Do you remember, Julie? Recently, my mom, something happened, and my mom was like, you guys have the Aztec blood in you. Do you remember? We were eating at the dinner table, and she brought up something happened. Do you remember?
I can't
you. I'm asking the worst person.
My memory's horrible.
My sister's not a very memorable person.
I know my mom was going off about it one time. And she was saying that the reason, like, for us, like indigenous, like the reason we get like canas, so white hairs, is because the Spaniards.
My mom.
We inherited that from the Spaniards. She said that our hair is, for us, like as indigenous people, like our hair is just always supposed to be black.
Yeah, she said.
That's what she said. I don't know. I don't know if it's facts, but I'm just saying what she said.
Native stories from my native mother. She told us that apparently a purebred. I know that's the wrong way to say it, but I think it's funny. A purebred native apparently is never supposed to get white hair. Apparently, that if a full-blooded native will die at the age of like 90 and still have black hair. It says that all white hairs come from our Spaniard like genes.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. But that's a native
that's an interesting take.
You know what is crazy? My mom's so native and I fuck with this heavy. My mom like fell and she like hurt her like feet. and like she, instead of going to the doctor, she made like this remedy, like she boiled like something. It was like black and orange with like leaves in it, and she like put her feet in it, and
She
like,
refuses to go to the doctor.
she's
bro.
like this will heal
Like,
my
bro.
bones. And I don't know, maybe it will. I respect it. I mean, my mom says that she's feeling better. Yesterday, you know how I was 2
Mhm.
my mom was like, today I feel better because I asked basically like
The babies.
my spirits to like heal me, and she said she felt better yesterday, and then I asked her today, and she said she feels even better today.
Well,
So,
because so there's this whole tradition also going on. So on February 2nd, it's the baptism of baby Jesus. And so I think I forgot where we went, and she called me, and she was like, "Hey," she asked me like what I was doing. I forgot what I was doing, and then she was like, "Oh, I'm in downtown," and she was shopping for the baby Jesus. So there's this thing where like during Christmas you put the baby to sleep, and then he wakes up like for New Year's. But things have been happening at home, so we couldn't do that. But on February 2nd, it's his baptism, and you have to dress him for like some. It's kind of like what's the word? Like not manifesting, but it's like just a thing for the year.
like a
It's kind of like the theme,
almost.
yeah. Like kind of like a wish too.
Yeah.
And she asked to dress them as. She asked me either to dress them for health, for love, or for like something with like. I think it's prosperity, like money,
prosperity,
like good money. And to me, when she asked me, I was like, I feel like we've been going through a loss, and I kept thinking about like when she hurt herself. So I was like, I feel like health. And so she bought the babies, and their theme is health.
What do you guys? Sorry to interrupt.
Oh yeah.
So what do you guys think about? Have you seen those videos where they're like reject Christianity, like Hispanic people and Native people should reject it because it's a colonizer thing? What do you guys think
Have you
about that?
seen it? Do you know what he's talking about, Julie? Do you want me to break it down?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's from this like recently semi-viral like video on TikTok.
Mhm.
It's this like native guy who's I think he's at one of the pyramids in Mexico,
Mhm.
and he's saying like, yeah, reject Christianity. Christianity is a brainwashing of like our people, and has continued to like affect our people in negative ways.
Mhm.
And my opinion on it is it's kind of complex, because I feel like this actually goes into what TGN Latinx just commented. The mind is a powerful thing. If you genuinely believe something, it will become true. And then right now they say Dia de la.
Dia de las Candelarias.
Okay.
Wow.
And I think that sometimes people can use religion to do great things. I always think back to when somebody's winning the Oscar. They're up there and they're like, the one person I want to thank is God.
Yeah.
And like, or like Tom Brady, or Peyton Manning. I can't remember which one it is, but one of them always, when they win a Super Bowl, they're like, I want to thank God. And like, to me, it makes me think that like, it's true. You believe in something hard enough, you could do some great things. And I understand the breaking like the tradition, and I mean the show's all about breaking tradition. So yeah, like I mean personally, I'm not a religious like guy, but if somebody is religious and is also like of indigenous background, and if that's what they truly believe, I'm not gonna tell them to fuck off and like stop believing in that bullshit.
Yeah.
Because I mean everybody has their own beliefs. Everybody's like has their own truth, right? I don't know, Jude, what do you think?
Because I mean, for example, the way mom does it, like you said, like she's very indigenous, but yet she still follows like this whole like Catholic part of it, right? But I feel like she, in a way, and that's how I kind of see it, the way she sees it is that it's not like she's not full on like super Catholic, like this is wrong or like this is morally wrong. Bro, we don't even go to church. Like and we used to live across the street from a church. Like we were legit, like the church was right there.
And when every Sunday we just be like,
and my parents were like, nah, like because the thing is that my dad also says is that like we don't need to go to church. Like God is everywhere, right? Like isn't that the whole thing that people always say, that he's everywhere? So like why do we necessarily need it? So like they're not strictly like religious and stuff. It's just like the way my mom has done it, and I feel like it's nice, is that she's combined kind of like our indigenous culture and she's combined like the Catholic culture in it. Which I don't think it's too bad, because I feel like it's nice to like have kind of that hope and kind of have like those things. It's kind of like, you know, how people are going through their spiritual journeys, like they have like their stones, you know, they talk to their stones or whatever. Like my mom has her babies, and what I also think is cool is that a lot of them were gifted to her. Like she's never really bought any of them.
Yeah.
So to her, like
It's
they're
literally,
gifts. You know.
it's literally what you talked about knowing astrology, that your stone should always be gifted to you.
Yeah, it's kind of
That's-
like
that's how it
'cause
is.
It's kind of like it's your
Yeah.
calling in a way. Like it was meant for you, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that my mom has have always been gifted to her. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like to her it's special because it's also like someone special probably gave it to her kind of
Yeah.
thing. And it would I don't know, to her I also feel like it would be rude to like just leave them there and like when someone spent money on them, right? But yeah, it was just like it was really nice like seeing that and like hearing that from like my mom. Because also I don't know, I just really like it. I mean I'm not super religious either, but it's nice to like see that part of it
Yeah.
through my mom, and like she seems to be doing better. I feel like it is true, like how they said in the comment, like the mind is a powerful thing, because I think there have been like studies and like we're kind of like in a
Well, I mean,
way like
that's what
if-
placebo is, right?
yeah, like you in your I think it was like if you think about it, it's like negative positive energy, it's like kind of like all those things.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You
I
see,
feel
dude,
like it's interesting.
just believe.
Yeah.
I like. I'm gonna believe that I can play on an NBA caliber, and I'm gonna go fuck up the court like later this weekend. But Brandon, we already went way over my segment, so I want to know, what did you bring for the table today?
Well, the first thing I wanted to bring up was, do you guys know the Masked Singer?
Yeah, the Masked Singer. Yeah.
You know what happened recently?
The
No.
show, I
So-
saw something trending.
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
So I don't watch the show, but I saw something trending on it yesterday, like late at night, and I was like, oh, what's going on? So apparently the Masked Singer. So if you haven't watched the Masked Singer, it's like a game show, or it's like it's just like a whatever, it's a game show,
Mhm.
where it's like this singer comes on and
It's
they're
a
like, oh,
celebrity.
and they're like, oh, they have a good voice. Like I wonder who that could be, and like the judges,
Oh,
be
they
like,
have to
that,
guess.
they'll be like, oh, that sounds like Guy Fieri, like, and,
Oh, okay.
and they're like, oh, what? It was Ninja, like, you know. And you know
Okay.
who came out?
Who?
Rudy Giuliani, the guy.
Fucking Trump's lawyer?
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, he came out. He,
he
was
can
the Masked
sing?
Singer. He was the Masked
Bruh.
Singer.
He sings. Was
Is he good? Yeah, is he good?
I don't think it was taped yet. I think it was like, so apparently, like, okay, so they were taping like the Masked Singer, and like Rudy Giuliani came out, and like two of the judges walked out, which is Ken Jeong and
Wait, they walked out?
well, because it's Rudy Giuliani.
I know, but
And,
like,
they walked.
but was
there-
he good?
I don't know. I don't know if it was it was like recorded. You know, I think it was before. Like it was recorded for air. And when
but-
like he showed up
so
there,
he also it wasn't like airing. It was
Yeah,
like during
it's-
the production of the show.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
and so Ken Jeong walked out, and I think Robin Thicke, who's the judge, walked out.
yeah.
I just think it's kind of like whatever you think. I think it's a little. I
Oh,
think that's a
yeah.
little
It
funny.
says, King Jong and Robin Thicke walk out in protest.
I mean, like, okay, like think about like
I feel like that is hilarious.
that is really funny though,
'Cause
right?
that's
like
that's-
why would it be him, right? Like, cause think about it. Just think about it. All the shit aside from him,
yeah.
you're like, what is like the demographic of this show, right? Like, like Ninja comes out, or like
Yeah.
I don't know, like Logan Paul comes out, or something like that. So you think like, oh, this is like for kids, or like people who are just like watching like just dumb TV to have like on the
It's meant to be fun.
yeah. They're like, can you imagine? They're like, oh, like the judge is like, oh, I think it's Guy Fieri, like, and it's-
I think
It might be Tom Hanks.
I think-
and
I
it's
think
like
Jamie
Kevin
Foxx-
Spacey.
I think Jamie Foxx won last time.
but like, think about it, like they're like, oh yeah, like maybe it's Jamie Foxx again. They're like, oh my gosh, guys, it's Rudy Giuliani, it's Trump's ex-lawyer. Like, what? Like, who thought that was a good idea to like have this guy on? Like, can you imagine? Like, even if it wasn't somebody like him,
Someone
like,
someone
oh
thought
my-
it would be.
oh my
funny.
God.
Someone,
it is
really
it is
thought-
a little funny. It is a little funny.
I feel like it is kind of funny because
Like-
it's like it really is like he's saying like oh my God, it's gonna be Jimmy. Oh, it's Osama bin Laden. It's like how did
Or
because it's like how did they get him on the show?
well, like, but like,
Because
not even like Osama bin Laden. I don't even mean like just that he's a bad guy. I just mean like him. Like, who even knows that guy? Like, the only people who know that guy are like people who are like politically aware. And the show's obviously for like kids, so
hey,
it's kind of
dude,
like,
but they're getting their ratings up. I mean, fuck, the
I
story's
mean,
going
but
on.
like, can you imagine if they're like, oh, like I think it's LeBron James. Like, oh, it's Bob Shapiro from the OJ trial.
Wait,
like-
they had Sarah Palin.
They had Sarah Palin on.
It says I think they had Sarah Palin also.
Wow.
So they have some crazy people on there. Well, because isn't Rudy Giuliani also under investigation by the FBI and the CIA currently? He got subpoenaed like not even a month ago.
I just think it's so weird. Like, even if it was like, oh my gosh, kids, it's Dr. Fauci. Like, like what? Like, I thought it was gonna be
And
like
he's like dressed like a coronavirus.
I thought it was gonna be like PewDiePie or something, you know?
I really want to know if he's a good singer. Like, I really want to know how good his singer is.
You think it'll like
Well,
air?
because it's if anything, it's even more hilarious if they're like, wow, that guy has the voice of an angel.
And it's
Bruh.
Rudy Giuliani.
It's Rudy Giuliani, and he has like his hair is melting again, like in 2020.
I just like I can't get over the fact that it's like all of the shit removed. That's like
you
his
know what?
allegations
It's
and
like
stuff. It's like why him? Like a
Mhm.
politician? Like
It reminds me of like a South Park episode.
yeah, right?
Right?
It's just like I can't believe somebody was like, dude, let's get Rudy Giuliani.
How did what was his costume? What was he dressed
It was
like?
like a ladybug or something.
Oh look, Keith Good News commented, I'm learning a lot about the Toltec people that come from South Central Mexico. Well before it was even considered Mexico, I believe. Wow. And then somebody like put like a curse on us in the like chat. MFHY space BBITD commented vom.red.
Oh, but that
it's like a virus or something. I don't know what that means.
But the Rudy Giuliani, I just thought that was funny. That wasn't what I
That wasn't your segment.
no.
That is
know.
funny. I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't know.
As angry as people are, come on, that's a little funny. Like,
Yeah.
like come on,
I
it's Tucker Carlson.
I had seen it on.
Okay, like,
It's Alex Jones.
like can you imagine like lip sync battle? It's like, oh, it's Ariana Grande versus like I don't know, like fucking.
It's Ben Shapiro.
It's Ben Shapiro. Yeah, like I don't know. It's like why would you get that guy on? But
That's out of
anyways.
pocket, but it's not out of pocket to have AOC though.
yeah, true. Well, but I feel like
Double standards?
It's a little different. Like if you've seen Borat 2, it's kind of like
Oh,
how
yeah.
he was gonna
he was gonna try and fuck like some like a supposed
Plus-
like underage girl.
Mhm.
Plus, that guy's like he's under investigation by the FBI.
Well, yeah,
you know?
because during the Capitol riots, like literally the hour before, he's like, "Go take back your country," and now he's like on the Masked Singer. Like that's America for you. Like you could fucking commit murder
It
like
is.
O.J. Simpson and then be on Twitter being like having a good golf day. Like you know, you could do whatever you want.
I don't
Basically,
know. I just,
freedom.
That's America.
It's I don't know. You're right. It is like
That's
South Park.
crazy.
It's just like that's really funny. I don't know. I think it's good.
It's like when people talked about how what's her name, Carol Baskin was on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, it's like, dude, like what? But I guess
I don't know.
my real segment is I don't know.
This is a good segue into your segment. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess. There's just this video I was watching the other day, and they were talking about coronavirus, like as much as talked about coronavirus. And you know how it's like 99%. It's a 99% survival rate.
What COVID?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, they were talking about. I think recently China opened up its wet market again.
Okay.
The one where supposedly coronavirus started. Do you know about that?
Okay.
I don't know if this is true. I just saw it on a video.
I don't know.
But that was being talked about, and they're saying like, oh, like this is just a catastrophe waiting to happen. Like it's gonna happen again. Like, imagine like, because yeah, it could happen again. It could like totally happen again. Like imagine a virus of being like 80% survival rate, and that's a little more like, I really don't want to catch that one. But Ilmar of all people, I saw a video of him talking about it, and he was like, yeah, that's bad, but he was like, America has no room to talk, dude. If you look at the farming system, where every animal is like pumped up with what do you call it, antibiotics, because
Yeah.
they all get sick and stuff.
Okay.
And I don't know, it's just tripping me out because it's like it's true. He was talking about like, you know, there's mad cow disease, and it comes from, you know, there's the swine flu and all that stuff that comes from obviously, you know, the industrialized farming.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's interesting because he was talking about how, because doctors say this all the time, where if you get prescribed antibiotics, you're supposed to like take them as instructed,
Yeah.
because you could create a super virus
Mhm.
that is resistant to antibiotics, and antibiotics are like one of our best weapons against viruses.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just trippy that, you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. But like we don't know for sure that COVID came from the wet market, right? and it hasn't like.
No. I'm not saying like COVID's that, but I'm just saying like, there's a lot of accidents waiting to happen. You know what I mean?
Oh, like the. But you know what's weird? I remember being in my freshman year of high school. I had this bio teacher who was like fucking goated. Like he was a really smart and fun dude.
Mr. J.
Yeah, Mr. J.
Yeah,
Mr. J.
Mr.
Yeah.
J, yeah.
Shout out to Mr. J.
Who's listening?
He was really cool, and he was the first guy who told me like humanity is on the verge of like fucking dying because nobody's taking their antibiotics and viruses are getting so strong.
Yeah.
They have to like double doses and shit. But that didn't really happen. COVID like came out of like the fucking blue.
No. But I'm not saying, but it could happen is a thing, and people are saying like it will happen eventually.
I mean, you can worry yourself sick about a lot of things.
I'm not saying like worry. I just feel like
what are you saying?
I just feel like that's gotta change, bro. That's not cool. Like it's gotta change, dude. It's gotta change. Like I talk a lot about that shit. I don't know. I just find it compelling, I guess.
What do you think? What would you do to change it?
I don't know. I just feel like we gotta change the farming system, dude. It sucks. Like I don't
people
know.
living their life.
Bill Maher made a good point. I thought where he was talking about how like for coronavirus they say exercise, keep your distance from people, and eat right. And he's like, that's everything we don't do for the animals we eat. They're jam packed together. They never get to exercise. They're pumped up with food they're not supposed to be eating, and they're constantly getting sick, and they're getting pumped up with like antibiotics. And like, not to be a downer, it's just more like, it sucks, man. But I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure
like,
what's
I don't
the
know.
like. I mean, I know what the alternative is to either go vegan.
There's really no point to what I'm saying. I mean, like,
you wanted like an awareness.
I don't even know about that. It just always like it just always kind of like intrigues me.
He's
like,
hurt, bro. Remember, he's for the animals. We're trying to.
I am
It's
for
because
the
you were an
animals.
animal in the past life. Bro.
Maybe.
You were a cat.
You were
was
a
a cat.
cat.
You were a cat on a farm that was
farm
taken
cat?
by.
A barn cat.
Yeah, you were a barn cat, and your
barn cat.
farm was taken by corporations and turned into a regular
My
one.
barn was exploded by a nuclear bomb.
What the fuck? Okay, that was like completely like different than
That's what happened.
That got
what I was
dark.
saying.
That's what happened.
That got really.
But did you
Oh.
survive? No, did you die in the
Obviously
blast?
not. Obviously not over here.
But like, then why are you mad at the corporations then? You just remember all your farm friends?
I'm not mad. It's just I was thinking more about
He hates the mistreatment, bro.
well think about it. Like, have you ever seen the documentary Blackfish?
No, but I know about it.
It's a crazy documentary. You should watch it. Where obviously it's about the orcas, the killer whales in SeaWorld,
Mhm.
and it just talks about how they're really like they shouldn't be there
Yeah.
because like they swim something like 200 miles in the ocean like
Yeah.
every day,
Yeah.
and they have like a tiny little pool where they just swim in circles
Mhm.
and they kill a bunch of people, but in the wild they've never ever killed a person, at least on record.
Mhm.
It's just I guess what I was thinking about is like I don't know. I guess maybe I'm reaching.
Well, because I know I'm trying to. That's why I'm only asking just because I'm trying to pick your brain.
It's cool. I understand.
Of like why you brought it up, because I understand the cruelty. Like, make no mistake, I'm not like who cares,
Like,
but I'm more,
bro, fuck it. Like, who cares? Like, no, it's
Like,
just
I'm gonna get Popeyes later anyways.
it's just like
You want a sandwich? Like, I know you want a
I
sandwich.
feel like it's just one of those things that like nobody acknowledges, and I feel like one day they are gonna acknowledge it in the future. And for some reason, you know what I mean? Like, you know how there's always those tweets like, what do you think we do now that's going to be seen as barbaric in the future? Like how we look in the
Yeah.
past and you're like, how could they have done that? That's
Yeah.
fucking horrible. And like, there's a lot of things that are happening right now where you're like,
You know what's weird is I remember when I was in middle school and watching all these documentaries about like how fucked up the farm system is,
Yeah.
and like how, like you said, they're all jam packed. But I haven't, in recent memory, I feel like there hasn't been as much emphasis on it,
You
because
know-
all those documentaries are kind of outdated.
you
They're
know,
from like the 90s.
you know, there's like a law against reporting them. You can't
Really?
I think I mean, don't quote me, please. I don't think you can go to like a factory, like a slaughterhouse, and
Yeah.
you can't like report it. Like, you can't go there
Anymore?
I think it's like been like that. You can't. It's a crime to report a crime, basically, because it's animal cruelty. Like, it is. Like,
Yeah.
it is, but I think there's like a law in place where you can't like go there and do that kind of shit.
record them.
I think so. I can't. If you want to look it up, but I mean, yeah, which is
Really, because that's what would maybe answer my question. Because I remember all those documentaries coming out when I was a kid, and they even as a kid, I thought these documentaries were kind of old.
recording in slaughterhouses.
And I was wondering, just like, are they still that way, or did those documentaries bring enough self-awareness to where they've actually become at least a tiny bit better? Because I haven't seen anything
it's like
it.
a rap studio.
wait. Okay, so we looked up.
we looked up recording in slaughterhouse, and now it's learn how to rap at slaughterhouse in the studio.
recording.
Slaughterhouse in the studio.
And it's like a thumbnail of a guy
Yeah.
freestyling.
I feel like I think I know what you're talking about,
Right?
because it is essentially like, especially like in YouTube, like if you post of like a pig getting like slaughtered,
Yeah.
like it's censored basically, like it's all basically censored. So maybe
There's something. I
let me see
should have
if I
wrote it
can
down.
find
I don't know.
You know what, Brandon? You should go out and be the first one to make a new documentary about
I
farming.
don't think I can.
Why not?
I don't have the heart. But you know what I saw on TikTok that kind of made me a little sad was this guy was talking about how he's been to one, and he was like, the worst part of it is not like the slaughtering or like any of that. It's the part right before, because he's like, they're not dumb, dude. Like they understand what's going on, and you can see very clearly that they don't want what's about to happen to them to happen. And
well, because
I don't know.
Well, because I always thought about how, again, when we would go to Mexico, I mean, they do that. Like, they all have their own farm and lands. And, I mean, they kill like, pigs for, like, the quinceañera or, like, the baptism.
Dude, I don't have a problem with people eating animals or, like, killing animals. Like, that's to each his own. It's just more like the way that we do it in the industrialized sense is, like, I feel like that's
It's
wrong.
like 1984.
It's wrong. Yeah, it's, like, wrong. Oh, there it is.
I mean, there's literally a book, right? Isn't Farmhouse or something?
Agog. No, Animal Farm is about communism and capitalism.
My bad. I never read it. Full disclosure, I never read it. So what is this? What am I looking at right now?
It's over here.
Ag-gag laws were introduced as a response to undercover investigations. They prohibit the restrict recording at industrialized farming operations. Prior to 2011, similar law. I think this is a completely different part. Similar laws known as Eco-Terrorism Laws were passed to protect industrialization farming operations from trespassers looking to damage property. Basically, it's saying you can't go in there and record and shit. Like,
wow.
Look,
Damn,
it says it's meant to hide animal abuse from the public.
Yeah.
Damn. So like basically,
You literally-
starting in 2011. So I said like, bro, I swear there was more when I was younger.
Yeah.
So that's why there isn't any now.
I don't know. Maybe I sound like a broken record to people. I don't know why I bring it up so much. It's just like,
I feel like this is the first time you bring that specific part up.
I don't know. I just was thinking about it because it's like, I don't know. I wonder what the world's gonna look like. In
But
like
you
100
see,
years.
you gotta have the action, bro. You gotta. I've been watching a lot of.
I'm trying to go vegan. Or vegetarian. I've been eating a lot more vegan stuff. Like there's this place. They have like a vegan sandwich. It's pretty good. It's the first. It's one of the first vegan things that I've actually been like. I actually would go out of my way to get this. Like it's pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
You should start by posting about it.
Yeah, maybe.
How do we change our lifestyle?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't. It's because
You always gotta do an action, man.
It's because like.
You're not gonna like force it on us. It's just more like
it's just
showing
more
us
like,
awareness.
It's just more like it's. I feel like I think about that a lot, right? Like I feel like in like 80 years, people are gonna like be sorry. Like you know what I mean? There's gonna be people who are like, dude, like you can't believe you guys did this to animals. And be like,
the way you said that kind of made me laugh just because I was thinking I had an example.
Animals are gonna rise up.
That too. But I was thinking of an example because I was like, gotta have an action like you know how Batman was tired of the crime in Gotham and he became Batman.
I'm gonna become
and then you were like you specifically said in 80 years people are gonna be sorry they messed with these animals.
Well, because I mean a lot of animals are already going extinct.
Well, I guess because why I bring it up is it's kind of like it almost seems like we're abusing animals and we're treating them like shit. It almost seems like we're like asking for it. You know what I mean? We're asking for like we're gonna in some factory right now. There's some pig that has a cough, and like because we're pumping them up with like antibiotics, that cough's gonna be like. And you're gonna be sorry in like 10 years because you're gonna get that, and there's gonna be no more. You know what I mean?
I
don't know.
I thought where you were going with that was that like in some factor right now a pig is born with the intelligence. He's gonna rise up. And he's gonna fight for it. And you never know. I mean, I wonder if because we've bred and we've made so many animals. I wonder if there was ever actually one that was very sentient. Yeah,
like Caesar.
That was just like sentient. Yeah,
and like. Well, they didn't. They just announced though. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, there was like a news thing that scientists pronounced like crustaceans, like crabs and lobsters, they're sentient. Like, they said that they are.
So they understand that they're alive and they're in the universe.
Yeah.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's scary.
No, it is scary because, like you said, like we're asking for.
You don't. Well, I don't.
Bro,
mean
Loki, I went to the zoo and I saw the apes, and I was like, I feel like they're plotting, bro.
Yeah. I remember you saw those. My gorilla saw it. My gorilla. My sister saw a gorilla scratching their ass and was like, "He's up to something."
No,
he's up to something.
They were just staring. They were sitting there and they were just sitting.
Dude,
and I legit felt like they want to escape. Like they look like they were miserable. Like they're like, bro, I want to get out of here.
Have you ever seen that clip? It's at a zoo.
The walrus?
No. The orangutan.
Oh,
the orangutan. It's like the same, but it's like the same concept. Yeah. It's like the orangutan behind a glass, and he has like his head tilted down, and he's like his face is like lit up from the bottom, and he's just staring at like the people who are like looking at him at the zoo. Orangutan, like orange, and then T-U-A-N. Yeah.
Orangutan.
Orangutan, and then look up scary. Just look up scary.
But like
I'll be scared.
You don't think people are gonna be? You don't think that's?
Yeah, it's the first one. It's that first picture right there. It's literally they like. Scared. Oh, look at the GIF. Click on the GIF. Look, you see, she's a reporter. It's that video.
I'm scared.
He's just like looking. Well, because like I mean, I imagine.
Hell yeah.
Okay, I was gonna bring this up earlier.
Yeah.
But I've been watching a lot of Attack on Titan, and like, and in that show, they talk about everything that we talk about on this episode. Surprisingly, they talk about race because they talk about the world before they were in this like fortress, but they also talk about how they feel like livestock, like just waiting to be eaten by like these titans, by these like monsters, and they become so rageful. The main character is so rageful, like he has a self-proclaimed purpose to kill every single one of them on the planet, and I can imagine. How animals feel looking at us as they're in zoos, as they're in farmhouses, as they're hunted in the wild. I can imagine they're like one of them is like, it's like maybe not me, but one of these days we're gonna get rid of all these humans.
That's why, dude, you should watch Blackfish because orcas are really fucking smart. They're really smart, and they're basically like psychopaths in there. Because I mean, like, how would you feel if you were raised in like a little box and like people use you, like you have to do tricks for things? Because they're not dumb. They're like really smart animals. And like obviously they killed people and they like, you know what I mean? It's kind of I don't know. It's weird.
Well, I mean, when the animals eventually rise up, at least Brandon will be saved because it's on record that he was like always them. I'm probably gone because they're like, fuck this guy.
I'm just saying, like, you don't think in like 100 years maybe not in our lifetimes. You don't think that there's gonna be some people who are like, man, like I can't believe that happened. Like you don't think there's gonna be something like, you don't think
I'd love if the world, my concept of a very nice future is where all the humans live kind of in like the atmosphere, like in sky cities,
and Earth is left
and
alone.
Earth is left alone. It's just like all the animals live down there.
I'd live down here.
But like I was like it's like it's kind of like illegal to live down here. Like everybody has to live in the sky city.
I'd be
because then
I'd be one of those rich people who breaks the law. But I'd be cool about it. You know?
Well, because I'm sure it'd have to be made illegal, or else people wouldn't move to the sky cities.
Yeah.
So
or it'd have to be like there'd have to be really good benefits to living in the sky cities. Yeah. But like I don't know. Man.
I feel like because that's what I would like if everybody lives in the sky cities, and then down here on Earth all the animals live freely and like peacefully. Because I mean, this is something that I've said before, but to me, I've always thought about it. If we are alone in the universe, then all these animals are like our siblings, and it sucks that like in this like
we ate them all and
it's like
and fucking
we've been hurting
shot
them all.
Yeah, because we're so afraid of like, what if we bump into an alien and they treat us like animals, like we treat animals?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Well,
I guess
I think that's why, because we're self-aware that like
You see, this is why we need a conservative guy on the show. Because right now he'd be like, "You guys are a bunch of pussies
you
and
guys are a bunch
bitches."
of pussies. Like,
Yeah, we're the apex predators.
how do you know? How do you know if they would say that?
Well,
I just assume because the conservatives like hunting.
I don't
so
know,
they,
dude.
they look at it. They look at
I
it through that way.
I guess. I don't know. I guess I feel sore for these animals. I feel bad for them. It's just.
It's not fair.
It just seems
we're too good.
It just
It's
seems
not a fair
like,
fight.
It just seems like one of those things where it's like, dude, you guys don't see a problem with this? All right, all right. I guess I'm the pussy, you know. I guess
I'm too much of a bitch to to care about other people's other animals' well-being.
We shouldn't torture animals. I guess I'm a fucking bitch.
Right.
Because and I remember in some of those documentaries they say that some of the animals get sexually abused, and I know that kind of sounds like but they're like, no, like some people like jam like shit in there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because like by law, animals are like property, so you can do whatever you want to them. You can do whatever you want.
Sad.
Like I'm not saying it's right.
No,
I'm just saying
I
that's
know,
what you
but-
can do.
No, I know, but like I don't know. I guess I don't know. I guess I should have thought out the point where I was going with this.
It's just bringing awareness, bro.
Well-
You know, because I feel like a lot of us still kind of ignore it. Like
because
it's
we're
like
the
there,
apex
you know?
predator.
Well, because I guess I also saw this video the other day, maybe like 3 weeks ago. This guy saying how he feels like he was pretty well spoken. He was like, it was just this vegan like protest, and then this black man came up and he was like, how can you protest this but not be like supporting like the black culture? And he was like, I'm sorry you feel that way. Like I'm like, I understand. And he was saying like, I feel like it starts though with animals. Like, can you imagine like, he was like, when you feed kids food like animals, right? When you feed a kid a piece of bacon and you're like, oh, this was like the pig, like we just, you know, and the kid wonders like, well, why can we eat the pig? You're kind of saying, well, some lives are above others. And the way he articulated it was better, but he was like, I feel like if you start off learning that all lives are kind of the same, even if it's just an animal, because people are different than animals. He's like, if you're taught to treat the pig with the same decency you treat a human, you're probably going to treat someone with a different skin color extremely well, is what he was kind of getting at. And I don't know. I was like, well, you know, I see your point.
I think just some people, because I keep joking around and saying we're the apex predator, but I think some people are born genuinely with that mentality of like they can't really see animals as like on the same level as humans. And the reason I say that is I won't say who, but you know how my dog got hit by a car recently and we had to amputate her leg?
Yeah.
Somebody told me they were like we should have just put her to sleep. He was like, because to amputate her leg was like $2,000, and he's like I would never spend $2,000 on an animal. If that was my dog, I would have put her to sleep.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's just some people are just born like with that mentality.
I
you know?
guess it's like, I don't know. It bothers me a lot. I don't know why. In recent years, it started to bother me. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I think it started happening in like 2020. Like I remember, just one day, they put a piece of meat in front of me, and I was like, that looks fucking disgusting. Like it wasn't like in a funny way. Like they cooked it bad. It was just like something about this just really feels wrong. Like it was just weird. It was just like, and I don't know. I was kind of the pandemic was a little bit of a hard time for everybody because like it made you ask questions about.
Yeah.
And I think at the time I was having a lot of anxiety about like just like life in general, right? Like I feel like the pandemic kind of highlighted how quickly something can change. And the pandemic, not to like undermine it, like I was saying, like imagine a much worse virus.
Yeah.
We got lucky with this one, in my opinion. But I was like, I bet you that cow, he probably wanted to live as much as like I want to live. And like I don't know why. It just like I couldn't after that I couldn't remove
that thought.
Like it never left me. And it's weird because I grew up eating tons of meat. In fact, when I was a kid, I would like if they would give me a meal without meat, I'd be like, this isn't food. Like where's the meat? Like you know, like I remember even having breakfast where it was a meat patty. It was like steak and eggs. Yeah. So I'm no saint when it comes to like eating meat. It's just
I get
like,
you.
I don't know why that happened. That's why it always interests me because I'm kind of looking for why that kind of just changed. because I
The
don't.
music. It was like wait. You were about to say something. You were about to
Yeah, so I
spit
don't know.
bars
I don't
right
know.
now.
Maybe
No, you're
I
right,
don't know.
dude.
I don't know.
I like that you're like that because I think it's very easy for me to forget about like that type of stuff. And I don't do it because I don't give a fuck about animals. I love animals.
Yeah,
like
no, yeah.
100%.
I don't. That's the thing though. It's weird because it's like I don't come from a place of like, man, fuck everybody for eating animals. Like it's just more like,
Man, fuck you.
it's just more like, you guys see this too, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like like I said it before, where it's
Hey,
like,
you know what's weird? It kind of reminds me of the Truman Show.
yeah,
Of like, it's as if like you lived your entire life, everything was fine, and then one day you're just like,
sums up,
something's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, something's not making sense.
right? Like I don't know. It's just like I don't know. It just honestly bothers me a lot, and
You're having an existential crisis live on the show, and I fuck with it so heavy.
yeah, it I don't know.
It's okay. You know what? You know why? Because you're saved by the bell.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's about time we wrap up this week's
Oh
episode.
shit! No, I'm sorry, Julie. I
That's
didn't
okay.
mean
You
to
know.
take up your slot.
Y'all be forgetting about me.
No. Let's go on for a little more.
I'm just
Let's go on for a little
kidding,
more.
just kidding.
Julie deserves to have her
Julie,
spotlight.
you wanna
Let's
have
go
your
on for a little
segment?
more. Well, I'll take the blame if we get in trouble for going over.
Nah, it's cool. I'll do
Alright.
it next week.
Are you sure?
This is the cliffhanger. This is part one. It's like it is Infinity War. It's Infinity War, bro. My sister got snapped.
She got snapped.
Yeah.
Are you sure? I'm down. I'll take the chewing out if you want.
It's chill. We'll save it for next week.
All right.
All right. Well,
Y'all
love her.
better be prepared.
I better start eating vegetarian really soon. Everybody's gonna be like, "Shut up, bro! You fucking like you still eat meat too, fucking
like the show is gonna start and you're gonna be like, bro, we tried that new Jack in the Box munchie meal, but you're like, bro, that shit was so busting. I ate like 4.
Yeah, it's like what's your problem?
It's like-
Like, bro, we
it's
went
work-
bro, I got a 4x4 internet. Like, what happened to Mr. fucking Mr.
I can't even think straight.
the animals? Like,
All right, well,
Bruh.
I'll see you guys later.
special shout out to all the people who commented.
Yes. Shout out to y'all.
Patty with Fatty, TJ and Latinx, and
Yeah.
MF.
Mifty Bald? Is that what it says? Miffy Bald?
I don't know. Maybe it's just a test. Maybe somebody was testing out
Maybe
something.
like butt dialed us. Like they're like, what's this? Oh god, this stupid live. They're
No,
trying to get out.
But happy Thursday, everyone. Hope y'all have a
Yeah.
great weekend. Stay safe, everyone. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
See ya.